Well, good afternoon, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to say I appreciate all of you for being here. Whoever you may be, maybe you clicked on it randomly, maybe you're a subscriber. But in this video, I'd like to tackle some issues of being a man in today's society, the difficulties of being an authentic man, and why it shouldn't be a difficulty, yet it is. And I'm hoping to cover as many bases as I can here. All considered, this is off the cuff, so I wanted to make this somewhat of a 23,000 subscriber special. Now, let me give you a little background here. My channel is a small channel. I don't have a lot of subscribers, I never have. If I had decided to fill my pool with slime or talk about controversial topics, I'm sure that I could have had a huge channel, although I wouldn't be being authentic to myself. And that's part of what I wanted to discuss here. And somebody said something a while back of, oh, you should have a, are you going to celebrate 23,000 subscribers? And I thought it was kind of a joke, because I know the person was serious, but in my mind I'm like, that's such a random number, 23. It's not a 25,000 or 10 or 20 or 50. But people know how slow my channel grows. So right now I get on average of about a subscriber a day up until a couple of years ago. Now I'm getting about 135 subscribers per month. So that means I get about 4 people a day who go onto my channel, find a video they like, and not only do they like the video, but they find it worth subscribing to. That means a lot to me. And it sounds cheesy, I'm sure, but that's being authentic. The idea that that many people want to hear what I have to say. And looking at the demographic, 85% of my viewers are male, between the ages of, say, 18 and 34. A vast majority of my viewers are young to, middle-aged men, like myself. I'm a Gen Xer, a latchkey kid. I grew up taking care of myself, basically. Make your own food. The parents are gone when you get home from school, that kind of thing. It's not a bad thing. In fact, in today's world, a lot of young men have been coddled and sheltered to the degree that they've become a bunch of wusses. Now, I don't mean that too offensively to any wusses out there, but it's part of being a man that I was taught that you have to be able to stand up for yourself, you have to be able to be aware of the world around you, be able to get yourself out of trouble if you need it, and be able to fight if you have to. Maybe you get picked on. You can try to talk your way out of any fight, like I did when I was younger, but once in a while, fisticuffs will be thrown. And that's some of the situations I've had when I was younger. I got in a couple fights, and I learned quickly to defend myself, to protect myself against other males that were trying to get in my space. And that was just kind of a given. So we're moving forward from the Gen X generation into the modern day youth, whatever you want to call it. I don't like the labels, the Gen Y, Gen Z, it doesn't matter. Young males who have grown up with nothing but the internet. And to them, and the reason why I used my channel as a reference was because from somebody of my generation, to even have 2 or 3 people that give a shit what you have to say is, hey, that's a bonus. I mean, it's better than nothing. In today's world, many of the young men have been convinced that all that matters is viewers or viewership or being recognized or trying to shine through and be better than other guys or other people in general. And yes, the male-female thing gets thrown in here because it does matter. And I know that in at least many of the issues that are arising currently out of our cultural confusion, there, over the past decade or so, has been a bit of a dismissal of the needs of males. Now, if 5 years ago I were to tell you this, that men are being pushed down, or even 10 years ago, let's say, people would call me ridiculous. Most women who know that what women have fought for equality are well aware that males have always had the upper hand in society. when it comes to power, to influence, wealth. But this just isn't true anymore. And now we've found the statistics do not correlate with what we thought was the truth in many instances, such as schooling. Men do worse in school. Men mature slower than females. Men tend to have a harder time making friends and feel awkward while they're growing up, a lot more than females do, because of the genetics that created being a man, if that makes sense. There's a certain, you have to be always on top of things. You always have to be on guard. You always have to be able to protect yourself and your family. And there's not as much of a call to arms or a call to protect or do the brute work as there maybe once was. Therefore, men have kind of, there's almost, in some of the feminist movements, this idea that men are just unnecessary. And, I totally respect feminism in the sense of women being able to do the things that men do. And, showing that women aren't weak and don't have to be dependent on men. Totally agree on that. Women can do any of these things by themselves. The point is not to negate the differences between men and women and say we're all the same, but to cherish the differences between men and women. Say, perhaps women are more empathetic in general, but not always. Perhaps men are stronger in general, but not always. But none of these attributes, whether it be physical or mental, matter as much as the need to feel like you belong and that you have a purpose. And for a lot of young men out there, they don't have that. So they think if you can translate your ideas into clicks and likes, that's going to make you a happier person. Which brings me back to the discussion about my channel. To me, 23,000 subscribers is amazing. I picture that as 23,000 people. Of course, a majority of them are probably closed accounts and bots. Let's say I have even 1,000 people who actually watch my videos. And to some of you, may have been watching me since 2011. 12 years I've been making videos. Others may have just found me recently. But either way, here I am, just a guy, sitting here behind a camera, trying to tell you what it means to be a man, or what you should be doing with your time. And that's what I try not to do. Because to be authentic to me means realizing that everybody is unique and different and that we need to find our own way. That's not what people want to hear. And there are plenty of men out there who will tell you exactly what they want you to hear. They will tell you that all you need to do is lift weights, bro, or all you need to do is get on the grind, work 16-hour days. I don't think building muscle or working 16-hour days is conducive to living a healthy life at all. Sure, you might make some money, you might build some muscle, but what the fuck is that going to do for you in the long run? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sure, money can help you survive, but you should be building this. Building not just your mind, not knowledge, but your wisdom. And this is one of the most important things I've realized, that knowledge is worthless in the big picture, other than helping you to navigate when you're going to get ripped off. Somebody tells you something's true and you know it's not because you have the knowledge to be aware that this person's bullshitting you. But if you have the wisdom to identify a charlatan when you see them, or the wisdom to realize you don't need anything, and therefore, as one of my favorite quotes goes, an honest man cannot be cheated because he doesn't desire anything more than he's willing to spend for. If somebody posts up a commercial, like I saw on YouTube the other day, that's in some computer voice that says, we're giving away free gold bars, I just instantly just roll my eyes and think, how ridiculous. But there are people out there who believe it, and if there weren't, they wouldn't be making them. And there is a sucker born every minute. And it's men who need to be able to weed through this shit and not be taken advantage of. So if somebody's making you promises, ask yourself, is it something that you want? Do you think that wealth or financial security is going to come from a commercial or somebody trying to sell you Bitcoin or any other NFT, whatever project it may be. It's not about the money. Having security, having financial security is a great thing, but it does not bring you happiness. Nor does knowledge. You can be the most book smart college kid and realize that without the wisdom, it means nothing. You can sit there and recite numbers all day long. Wisdom is where it's at, and wisdom only comes through experience. And this is why, as you get older, you understand that it's a balancing act of wisdom and knowledge. There are plenty of people out there who are in their 70s or 80s who think they know everything because they're wise. They've been around a long time. But maybe some of these people never did anything with their lives, you know? Maybe they just sat on the couch all day. Or maybe they never read a book or did anything interesting. Just because a person has a gray beard doesn't mean they're wise. But ultimately, wisdom should be able to be applied to all generations. And it's the same way I feel about religion. How religion is just fading, yet we need this. We need some sort of a belief system. Otherwise, a secular society will turn to worship of politicians or, you know, bros. The Andrew Tates of the world, who, you know, any man who looks up to Andrew Tate, I think that that's kind of the epitome of the problem right there. A guy like Andrew Tate, smoking cigars, talking down on women, he's a weak man in my eyes. He's a weak-minded individual. The kind of guy who cannot be authentic, because if he were sitting in a group of people just going, all right, let's be real here. If he could be real, he'd be a totally different person. Therefore, he's not being authentic as himself when he's talking on his videos or anything else. Same with all boisterous men, you know. Plenty of women here too, but I'm talking about men because I'm a man and that's who I interact with generally. And my God, some guys out there are just so weak-minded that they have to put on a show. And then they come across as something else than they are. And people think that that's what's worth being. I want to say that uncomfortable truths really suck. Most of us don't want to hear them. Most of the videos that I make talking about death or, you know, the philosophies people don't want to think about, they get a lot less views, and that's fine. I make them for the sake of the people who do want to. Yet, there are some videos I've made about feelings of self-defeat, feelings of impending doom, anxiety, stress, depression, which really resonate with people because so many people feel this way yet don't want to talk about it. And so to be authentic, you have to be able to admit your faults, admit your weaknesses. If you think you're untouchable, if you think you're, you know, some godly being that can't be bothered, then you're never going to make connections with other humans that are willing to come to terms with their own shortcomings and insecurities. And for men especially, with such a loneliness epidemic, as many people call it, and really it's just an inability to compromise with other people. I've met plenty of friends when I was younger that I didn't get along with or agree with 100%. You work past that shit. Working past our issues in person. That's what it's really all about. Those human connections. I'm going up to the final Dead & Company tour, the concert up here in the Gorge this next weekend. And it's funny, as my friends are talking about what they might play or the concert itself, I haven't even really thought about the music, or honestly don't even care that much. And I thought about this a lot, and I realized what I think about is sitting out there at night in front of my school bus with the Christmas lights on and some music playing, partying with a bunch of friends until dawn, talking with people, making new connections. In fact, a guy we met at the last shows we went to in like 2019, he's coming up and he's meeting us and riding up with us. He's from DC, Phil, and we've only met him once at a show, you know, 5 years ago. And here we are hanging out because you make those connections forever. And the internet gives us such a false version of who people are. Until you meet people in person, you just don't know who they really are. And this lack of authenticity, I think, is what's leading us to the problems we have. We are too focused on things that don't matter. Too focused on other people or other situations, or hey, look at what this political class is doing, or oh, can you believe what rich people are doing, or this company or this corporation, or women are the problem. You know, there's plenty of men's groups that think women are their problem. No, you're the problem. If you think that an entire half of the species of humans is the problem for why you feel shitty, you better pull up your britches, kid, because reality is going to set in one day. It's the same way people blamed other races for their problems. Oh, if it wasn't for this group or that group, my life would be so great. No, if you're blaming women for your problems, then it's probably the weakest thing a man can do. And I'm not saying that to offend anyone, I'm sure it will. But if you spend any time during your day on a website complaining about women, man up and get past that shit. You're being a fucking pussy. So, you know, do what you do, but don't make other people the root of your problem. If they're, you know, it takes two to tango, as they say. And yeah, there's plenty of shitty women out there, plenty of shitty men too. Time to move past it. Use the accrued wisdom and knowledge we have to say, how can I be a better man for myself, for my family, or my friends, whoever you interact with, and be myself without feeling offended and bothered by other groups. Seems simple enough. Never is. I've been through a lot of shit in my own personal life. Lost my father when I was young. Didn't have any real heroes. Got let down by some of the people I thought were intelligent or wise. It's just life. You just realize we're all in the same playing field here, and we all figure it out as we figure it out. And the strongest thing you can do as a man is to just acknowledge you don't know and move forward with what you do know. And people will respect that. And if they don't, fuck them. That's all I got. Peace.